U.S. official has a very dire prediction on the fate of the Malaysian Airlines flight that is missing. He tells CNN there is probably a significant likelihood the plane is at the bottom of the Indian Ocean. And a U.S. Navy commander says expanding the search for the plane is like going from a chessboard to a football field. Andrew Stevens is in Kuala Lumpur for us.
It's been very difficult to get to the bottom and to get a clear line of information coming out from the Malaysian authorities here. Let me just tell you what has happened in this latest apparent conflict of information. Yesterday, the Wall Street Journal ran a story saying that the plane may have been travelling for several hours after it disappeared from view on the transponders, and that was based on information coming from the Rolls-Royce engines on that plane back to home base. Now, the Malaysian authorities in a press conference about 12 hours ago completely said that was inaccurate, that was untrue. They do have experts on the ground here. They have the FAA, obviously, the NTSB from the US, the National Transportation Safety Board. They also have experts from Rolls-Royce and from Boeing. And they spoke to Rolls-Royce about this, and Rolls-Royce said, no, there was no signals being received from the engines. And that is what the Malaysian authorities were saying this report was inaccurate about. So the new development is that the Wall Street Journal has said that, and this has been also being reported by CNN's own team using their own sources, that the plane was pinging. There was pings coming from that plane for several hours after it lost contact, not from the engines but from other electronic parts of the plane. It could have been from the ACAR system, and it could have been from a link up with satellites. Now, this is all still very much a big if. What was that in fact the case? This is certainly not 100%. So this is the question now for the Malaysian authorities today. The US is saying that they knew this, that the fact that they did have this information, but they, for whatever reason, decided not to mention that in the press conference yesterday. They chose instead to say the story was inaccurate. Now, this is a question that we're going to be asking today, obviously, of the Malaysian authorities, but it does go to show, and it really does underline the massive amounts of confusion, the stop-starts, the false leads in this search for this plane, which is now entering its 7th day. It certainly put the Malaysian authorities in an unprecedented situation, dealing with the world's press, dealing with such a big international story, and how to get the information out regularly and accurately.
Andrew Stevens there in Kuala Lumpur. Well, each passing day seems to bring a new theory about what happened to the flight, and as Andrew just reported, many are criticizing the Malaysian government for its handling of the search efforts. Brian Todd is looking into that.
It's been confusing from the first moments Flight 370 went missing. When did it vanish? Malaysian officials first said it disappeared at 2:40 a.m. local time Saturday morning. A day later, after issuing 6 statements, a new time on when it was lost, 1:30 a.m. Where did it go? The flight path, a major point of confusion for 6 days. Malaysian officials first said it vanished in the South China Sea. Then a Malaysian Air Force official said it turned sharply, flew hundreds of miles west. Another Malaysian official then said that's not correct. Then we were told there was a radar blip heading into that area, but they're not sure if that's the missing jet.
There's a consistent failure to get the most accurate information before the world's best experts, who I assure you are there ready to help.
Wednesday, Malaysian police tell CNN they searched the home of the pilot. A day later,
reports suggesting that the Malaysian police searched the homes of the MH370 crew are not true.
Now, sources close to the family say police have been outside the captain's home but haven't gone inside. Critics say the Malaysians are constantly giving conflicting accounts, holding back on information, can't control the flow of information. And if American officials were in charge,
you would have organizational meetings immediately. You would have groups formed to look at different areas, experts on weather, experts on maintenance, experts on all air traffic control, every aspect of it.
There's no indication the Malaysians haven't done that, and they fiercely defend their handling of this. They say they only hold back information when there's more analysis needed.
This is a crisis situation. It is a very complex operation, and it has not always been easy.
Analysts say part of the problem could be cultural. There's been one coalition governing Malaysia for decades, its leaders not used to being challenged.
They haven't had to account for themselves in the ways that they have to now in the glare of international publicity.
And it's not just the Malaysians' dealings with the media that's been an issue. Vietnamese officials temporarily suspended part of their search this week, complaining of insufficient communication from the Malaysians. But the Malaysians have said they've not held anything back from other countries, have been in constant contact, and have asked their American counterparts for help in analyzing radar data. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
Another news that we're following, the stakes are high as the clock ticks down to Sunday's